about now? Yep, we got it now. Okay, audio problems. Look at this. OBS is so bad at keeping your mic settings that I'm actually knowing how to fix all the problems now. Hopefully you got me loud and clear here. Hopefully I see the audio is picked up now through the microphone. So, shout out if you can hear me in chat. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another live stream. And just before we can even get kicked off here, Team Vodka, the Santa Claus himself, is already dropping another 20 subs. Gifted subs. Team Vodka, appreciate you, man. Very, very kind of you. If you guys picked up a membership from Team Vodka, make sure you shout them out. Say thank you. Appreciate that. Pretty quiet voice. Let me see. Again. Still. Stand by. Testing. How about now? We got some better audio. Maybe it is the music. Let's see. Well, let me see. Hold on. Okay, how about now? We should be better now. All right, we're finally back. Just some technical difficulties this morning. Thank you so much, Team Vodka, though, again, for getting another 20 gifted memberships. Guys, if you pick one up from Team Vodka, make sure you say thank you. That is quite the contribution. He's obviously in the Christmas spirit, the holiday season, the Santa Claus himself. So thanks again, Team Vodka. Appreciate the support. All right, I think it is time. We need to get this thing going here. Now, we spent enough time messing with the microphone and stuff. We're not even going to do any shout-outs, but I appreciate everyone who tuned in today. We're going to pick up this little overview what we're going to do today. It was snowing pretty good. It looks like there's just some intermittent snow bands. Looks like we're going to have to jump into the airplane here. Some intermittent snow bands moving through Spokane, Washington. But what we're going to do today is we did some de-icing yesterday. We talked about it briefly, Type 1, Type 4. We did the remote de-icing. Today we're going to de-ice at the gate, but we're also going to throw in some additional procedures when you are in active icing conditions. If you remember yesterday, we de-iced, and then by the time we pushed off the gate, the snow pretty much had stopped. So there's some additional things that need to go into effect when you are in active icing conditions, and we're going to talk about those today. But before I can even do that, it appears that Cosmic Doubloon has also just dropped 20 more gifted memberships to the channel. Cosmic, I appreciate you, my friend. I hope you had a wonderful trip over to Zimbabwe. Thank you so much for the support, man. Good to see you back. Looks like we have 2 Santa Clauses in the chat already. Thank you both, Cosmic and Vodka. Cosmic, appreciate you, man. Hopefully we'll get together soon here. We got to do some chatting about the future that holds us. But anyway, thank you so much, Cosmic. Appreciate the support. Turning the chat all green already. We haven't even jumped into the airplane yet. V2 plus 10, good evening. Good to see you, my friend. So, yes, doing the de-icing again, but we're also going to do some additional discussions about holdover times. And if you want to see the chart that I'm going to be using, I posted it in the Discord prior to. If you want to download it, we're going to be talking about this chart. This is the holdover chart. Real world table here. This is a kind of a simplified version of what we use, but it is a real chart. And we're also going to talk about engine run-up procedures and vibration detection and all that. So we're going to continue to ride with the de-ice anti-ice theme, and seriously, AJ Funari, jeez, I think we have more memberships than actual viewers at the channel right now. 2460 new memberships. AJ Funari, Santa Claus number 3, is in the house. Nobody left to gift. The chat is literally all green. I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much, AJ Funari, for another massive donation here on the channel, getting 20 more memberships. And if you missed out already, I did release a recent short video. It's only got like 60 views, so I don't think y'all are watching them, or maybe you just forgot about them. I didn't post it to YouTube. I probably should post it to the YouTube community section, but I linked it in the Discord, in the V1 After Dark Discord. But yes, there is a recent shorts video out, so check that one out, and appreciate all the support, guys. You guys are absolutely awesome. I appreciate all of the support here on the channel, especially when we don't do, like, I haven't been live for a couple weeks, so like getting back into it and everyone just still being supportive, absolutely love to see it. So with that said, 60 memberships in 5 minutes. I know. Let's go ahead and jump into the airplane and get things going, because we have a short flight today, so we can take our time. We're going to take our time you know, getting everything set up, because it is only like 250 miles to Washington. We're going to Seattle, Washington, and but we're going to talk about, like I said, we got to get de-iced at the gate, and we got to do a couple other things. So short flight, a lot of ground time, hopefully some learning. Again, if you want the holdover table that I posted, it is in the Discord just above the live stream event. So, Christmas spirit is in the air. Happy to be here. Zippy Zapple Green Dot himself. Thank you so much for the continued support as a 4-month private pilot member, Zippy. Appreciate you. All right, let's go ahead and, so the airplane, I have it kind of set on a turnaround state just because I'm getting really tired of doing cold and dark every single time. Although, the way I've been bidding my schedule, real life, it has been pretty much cold and dark. This is kind of a quick turnaround state. Sometimes you would even see this with the batteries off. So like the crew would connect external power, but then they would also turn the batteries off. That way, if the external power were to drop out, we wouldn't drain the batteries. So this is not truly like a quick turnaround. It's kind of like a pseudo state, like, hey, your buddy's bringing the airplane in. Hey, man, I left it up for you. All right, cool deal. So let's kind of go with our abbreviated flow here. Crew supply, ground control. We still do all the same things that we normally do. We'll do a CVR test. And that's in Captain. We'll get the ADIRs aligned. Now, they probably would have been in the aligned position already if you pick up the aircraft from another crew, but you would have to do a realignment or a quick align, but we'll just get them aligned here, full deal. Make sure you have allow gifted memberships turned on, says AJ. Yes, indeed. Make sure you do have that on so you can pick up a gifted membership, because they are running rampant. It's like a disease. Well, no, disease is a bad word. It's like it's a contagious gifting. It's awesome. Thank you guys for the support. Continuing on the overhead flow here, we'll put the strobe into auto. Nav is already in position 1. We'll go auto here, arm U. Everything else looks good. On this selection, we'll do fire test 1. Nice to be back in the Fenix already. Been a minute since we've been in the Fenix, so everything looks good up there. Airplane is pretty much already up to speed. We're rocking the old school Delta. We don't have any EIS-1, but we got the old school Delta RMI here with the old school analog airspeed gauges. So I feel like the sim is really quiet. Let me, does it seem quiet to you guys? Let me see if I can adjust some. I don't know why it seems so quiet. Hopefully, maybe that's a little bit better. Alright. Kanopki says, I just landed my MD-82 in Hamburg. Now it's V1 time. Kanopki, that's fantastic, man. Thanks for joining the channel. Something interesting right here. Look at this. We already have like an advisory message. Vibes are flashing. Or we're going to have to get to that when we get to that. I don't know what's going on there. All right, let's initialize. We are effective. We are out of date. Hopefully Christie's not here. We'll do a NIT request. We'll pull that. I don't think the ATIS actually works, so we'll just get our AOC message from dispatch here. So weather doesn't actually work. There's our load sheet. We'll accept that. Today we're operating as Delta Flight 357. Oh, you know what? I do have Phoenix to GSX. I don't have it on auto start. Let me see if I can auto start it. I wonder if it will, if it's going to be all jacked up now. Mickety Mike, 37 months as a member. Look at those wings. Appreciate you. Been a while. Hope all is well. Mickety Mike, appreciate the support, man. Welcome to the channel. Glad to have you on board. The mean green disease, the V1 STD. Yeah, jeez, oh my gosh. Oh, you guys are crazy. Okay, GSX is, I guess, uh-oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Delta? Alright. Well, our ground power just dropped out.
The truck is on its way. Please don't load aircraft until the fuel truck arrives and ask to do it.
Whoa. What is happening here? What is happening? Where'd my jetway go? Rip! It seems you want cold and dark. I do, Romulus. What is going on with this? Steve, welcome to Commercial Pilot. Glad to have you back on board, my friend. Welcome back to the channel.
Catering vehicles are on their way.
All right, can someone bring the jetway back, please? Thank you. Jetway pieced out on that one. Oops, sorry. I almost put my coffee in front of the camera. Okay. I think we're finally getting everything back in order here. Let's do a NIT request. Let's get that reinitialized. Let's go back here. ATSU, AOC. What is happening? Receive
Fuel truck
messages,
is in
load
position.
sheet. We'll accept that. That's the prelim.
Please don't load aircraft until the fuel truck arrives and ask to do it.
Okay, I won't. We're going to reinitialize our box here. All right, Spokane to Seattle. There we go. And now let's get back to the regularly scheduled programming. Delta 357. Cost index will go 55. Cruise flight level, I think we're at 310 if I'm not mistaken. The flight level we found 320 actually. Our route kind of takes us south then over, which I'm all right with because it's a little bit longer of a route and it's a really short in if we go direct. So ground temp is -4. Our IRS and NIT, that's going to go ahead and let's let it align. The winds are off the west, so we're going to depart 2-1, I believe. Let me double check. Yes, 2-1. 2-1 on the Spokane 7, which is a radar vector departure. Manual leg Spokane, I should say. Seattle arrival, we'll plan 16 center ILS. It's supposed to get pretty gnarly up in Seattle as well. So we're on the Chins 2 off of the YKM. And should we approach via it? Approach via... If I come back over here, look at our Navigraph. Let's see what we got here. GSX Updater tells you everything in the release notes, FYI. GSX Updater tells you everything in the release notes.
Please use your airplane fuel system to set the desired fuel quantity.
Let me go back to my star charts here. And let's go back to Seattle. Star charts. Chins 5, ILS 16 center. Approach via Payne VOR. We'll have it all the way out. So we'll just have it drawn all the way out in case we need it. We'll have all the fixes. Alright, that looks good. Manual leg after Auburn, and then the ILS 16 center. See, very simple initialization there. We're loading fuel, it looks like. Fuel truck has showed up at the airplane. Excellent. Everything is looking good here. We got caught back up to. We don't need to touch GSX now until you need to push back. Thanks to Infian or Ewok. Yeah, I have the auto start off because I forget how I have it configured. I think when I turn it on, or like when I request my flight plan, then it pops up, but I didn't want it to start before we started the stream. So, all right, quick secondary GEG to GEG here. If we have to come back, there is a special complex, but we got a lot more stuff to talk about, so we're not even going to really get into this. We'll just put this in here. We'll come back to Cat 3. How about we put no? Winds will take the headwind component out of it. Temperature is -4, and the wind, or the QNH is 2994. I just want to get all this stuff out of the way so we can get into our holdover times and holdover tables and start talking about the juice. All right, that's all pretty much done. A NIT B, our block fuel, we'll wait for that. They're going to do their thing. Closing one right. I think our fueling is done. 11.2, we'll put that right there. And then if we come over to our Fenix weight and balance tab, ground ceviche, nope, mass and balance. It's going to do its own loading here. So this is live, so we'll wait for it to finish. All right, so we're pretty much good to go. Unlike before, though, we're going to fire up the APU because we need to warm up this cabin, although I do have PCA air on. Well, I used to, the ground air. But let's go ahead and fire up the APU so we can get the cabin nice and warmed up. And you can see that visibility is still pretty low, and we got some snowflakes. Matt Good, welcome to Commercial Pilots. We're glad to have you on board. Welcome to the channel. One thing to point out, you'll see here that we do have the minifcu up and running for the Fenix. Now, the Fenix Quartz, there's a software called Fenix Quartz that I have, and it pseudo makes the minifcu compatible with the Fenix. You'll see here there's nothing in the actual Windows, which is unfortunate, but the knobs still work as intended. So your flight director, autopilot, I shouldn't say flight director, your localizer, all your push buttons, everything works as it should, except you don't see any of the values. So while that is a little bit disappointing, it's still better than having a mouse wheel scroll, in my opinion. Chaos. Cal Ferris, welcome on board. Glad to have you here. What's the square around north, south, east, west on the McDo? The square around north, east, south, west. Oh, these are just so these are your cardinal directions. So like if you're importing waypoints or coordinates, I should say, it just helps your eyes find the cardinal directions better. NESW, north, east, south, west. That's just when you're importing cardinal directions, just so your eyes can find it a little bit quicker. It's really bright in here, I feel like. Let's turn down. Let's make it nice and cozy. The APU is up and running. We'll start the chrono for a 3-minute burn off before we get the heater on, get the bleeds on. And while we wait for that, I think the airplane is pretty much set up here. Let's go ahead and just dial in. Oh, you know what? I don't think I have Fenix Quartz running. Let me launch the Quartz software. Let me restart the scanner. Uh-oh.
Boarding requested.
It may not be working.
Passengers boarding starting.
It used to work. That's interesting. Let me close it and relaunch it. Mini cockpit is running. Mini cockpit is running. Let me reset the let me reset it here. Aha, there we go. All right, I just reset. I had to reset the mini cockpit software too. Okay, so we're up and running. So here we go. This is what I was telling you about. So everything works as far as knobs go, but you can't see the readout on your actual display, which is a little bit sad. So it is running. I just had to restart the mini cockpit software itself. Okay, 67 of 148 peeps. I tell you what, where do we want to start talking about holdover times? Let's do it on the jump seat. Let's pretend that everybody's on OE today. So give yourself a seat. We'll open up the, can we open up the cockpit door here? I swear we used to be able to. There we go. Oh, wow, that actually won't let you have the door open with the jump seat out. Huh. Look at that. All right, Papa Squat, let's go ahead and talk about holdover times and getting into our juice of the stream. So right here I've popped up a table. If you want this table to download it yourself for your own viewing pleasure, you can look this on the Discord, and it just gives you some guidance. So if you want to add some realism to your flying, and, you know, if say you have to get de-ice wherever you're flying and maybe you're on a VATSIM event and there's a super long wait for takeoff, these are some real procedures and thought processes that we have to go through in real life. And I'm going to kind of walk you through this right now. So just to recap, anytime we have precipitation that is freezing on and collecting on board the aircraft, we have to get de-iced. Now, if you just have frozen ice on the airplane and it's not snowing, you can do a one-step de-ice program, which will remove all the ice, and then you go ahead and taxi for takeoff, and there's no problems there. But if there is active precipitation like we have this morning, we've got snow falling, we have to do a two-step de-icing procedure. The first step is to remove the contaminants. The second step is to apply a layer of Type 4 fluid, which will then stay on the aircraft until rotation or shortly before rotation, and then take all that snow and ice that's kind of fallen on the wings and stuff and take it with it, and leave you with a nice clean airplane. So when we talk about Type 4, there is a very popular table, or a very popular chart here called the holdover time. And this can vary greatly depending on the type of hydraulic fluid that you're using, or it could be the percentage that you're getting of such fluid, but this is a generic holdover table for type 4 fluids, and more specifically the SAE type 4 fluids. Now in real life, when we get sprayed, we have to actually look up the specific type of fluid that's being used, like the brand name. We have a chart for it. We have to find the brand name, the concentration, etc. And there's actually a whole slew of notes that I've cut out on the image, but you can probably see it. No, you can't see it, but there's like a whole nother page of just notes, but we're not going to apply that for sim purposes. But let's just go ahead and look at this real quick. So we're going to definitely do a type 4 two-step de-icing today. You'll notice on that left column, the first column is this outside air temperature. You might be wondering, why does this matter? Well, the outside air temperature is going to dictate how long that type 4 fluid is going to be valid for on your airplane. The colder it is, typically, depending on the situation, it may actually be worse or better to a certain extent. You can kind of see that as we look at the type of intensities. You'll see the time kind of increases, and then it actually decreases as it gets colder. The fluid becomes less effective. But right now, let's look at the outside air temperature. The outside air temperature is -4 on the lower ECAM. So we're going to look at the second table there. It says below -3 to -8C. The precipitation that we have outside is going to be in, I would call this light snow, and you would get this from the ATIS and the METAR, which is calling for light snow. So we're going to skip over to the yellow column. If you look at the yellow column on the second row where the temperature is below -3 to -8, you'll see we have a holdover time at 100% concentration of 55 minutes to an hour and 45. Or if we have a 70-25 concentration, it's an hour and 5 to an hour and 50. All right, that's fluid water by percent volume. It gets more complex. For sim purposes, none of this really applies. But I'm just kind of showing you that when you're frustrated that your flight's delayed and you're wondering what's taking up so long, is the flight crew is very diligently working on making sure we have the proper coding and the proper time allotment from when we get sprayed to when we can take off. So when you look at these, you say, well, 55 minutes, that's pretty long. Okay, that's good. But let's look at a different example. Let's say we had moderate snow, which is, I think, pretty much what Buffalo was having yesterday. It just wasn't when we took off. But let's say we're at moderate snow. You can, if you look there and the temperature is -3C and above, that holdover time is really only valid for 10 minutes to 25 minutes, depending on a couple other notes, which aren't included on this chart, which we're not going to get into for sim purposes. But 10 minutes, you take the most conservative value. Okay, I got 10 minutes from when the application starts. That's where this time kicks in. It's from when the application of de-icing starts, not when it finishes. So when they start de-icing, you start the clock, and then you have to taxi out. You got to do your flight control stuff. You got to get in line for takeoff. There's probably a line for takeoff. So all these other factors come into play. Most airports that deal with icing and de-icing specifically, they have it down to a pretty good operation where you get de-iced kind of towards the end of the runway, then you go and take off. But there have been times, and there are airports where, you get sprayed and then you go sit in line for takeoff, and by the time you're ready to go, I've had it myself personally. I've waited over an hour, and then our holdover time expired, and now what do? You have to go back and get sprayed. By the time we go back and get sprayed, the flight crew times out, and then the flight ends up canceling. So it can make for a very frustrating experience from a passenger standpoint, but you just got to know that it's not, no one is trying to sabotage you. It is when snow falls and de-icing procedures are in effect, it just triggers a plethora of other items that need to be covered and need to be accounted for by the flight crew. So this is just a little bit of an insight of what's going on. Again, if you want this chart, I posted it as a JPEG image. You can pick it up from the Discord right above the live stream alert. So next time you go fly in the snow and you're on VATSIM and maybe it's a VATSIM event, you can see if you'd be actually legal to take off or not from when you get sprayed. So that is the basic holdover, so we know we're going to be, 55 minutes. That's the most conservative value from when we get sprayed. There's not a lot of traffic here in Spokane, Washington, so it shouldn't be an issue at all. So you've been briefed now on what we got to do. We've talked about our holdover times. Looks like pretty much everything else is ready to go. Let's get the APU bleed on. We'll disconnect from there. Our fuel is done. We'll get our fuel tank pumps on. The seatbelt is on. Let's go ahead and put our final weights in here. We're 28.7 and 30.7, 128.7 and 30.7. That's in the box. We'll look at our perf speeds. We'll do this next. How long does de-icing take? It depends on how efficient the de-ice crews are. I mean, it can be anywhere from 5 minutes to 10 minutes, depending on how bad the icing is. Also, the timing for your holdover is only off that Type 4 fluid. So what takes the longest is a Type 1 full body de-ice. That's where they take the orange fluid and they have to spray the entire fuselage of the aircraft. That takes a long time. But your holdover time doesn't start until they start the wings and tail Type 4. Now you can possibly do full body Type 4, but that's kind of frowned upon, and that's really only in unique circumstances. But yes, your holdover time starts from the application of the Type 4 fluid if you're getting a two-step de-icing. If you're doing Type 1, holdover times don't necessarily exist for Type 1 fluid, depending on what type of fluid you have, because that is a de-ice. It's not really an anti-icing agent that they're spraying on the aircraft like Type 4. Why is there a range on the holdover times, Liam Arnold? Because there is a slew of notes to that go with that chart. So that's really only half the picture, but we would end up talking for probably an hour just on the note section. So it will depend upon certain things in those notes. Like, let me read a couple of the notes that you don't see. I cropped them off there. That's just the generic chart. But if I actually look at the note section, for example, ensure that the lowest operational use for temperature LOT is respected. Consider Type 1 fluid when Type 4 fluid cannot be used. Let's see. Using freezing fog holdover times in conditions of ice crystals mixed with freezing fog or mist. That's note 4, so that doesn't apply. What are 5, 6, and 7? To determine the snowfall intensities as a function of prevailing visibility, we have to go to a different table to see what the intensity is. So to find out what the intensity of the snow is, you actually have to go to a different chart, look at the visibility, look at the temperature, and then that will give you the intensity of the snowfall. Not just, what you see on the ATIS. You actually have to determine the intensity. So that's a note. Light freezing rain holdover times in conditions of very light snow mixed with light rain or drizzle. Now we have to go back to a different table to determine that it is not greater than light. No holdover times exist if reported visibility correlates to a moderate or heavy precipitation intensity of freezing rain. So these are all additional notes that you would have to apply to that chart if you were actually using that specific chart in real life. But this is stuff that you wouldn't really be using in SimWorld. So it's just to give you a basic idea of what's happening. Now I'm trying to see. Yeah, so look at all my other charts. I have holdover time for ABAX Echo Wings, for Alab International Pro Flight fluid, for all clear wing ECO fluid, AS Global 4-flight fluid. I mean, I don't know how many pages I have here. Probably 24 different types of de-icing fluids. This is the most common one. Clariant, I think it's Clariant. I think that's what we have in the U.S. most of the time. Clariant Safe Wing. I feel like that's what I use a lot here. Cryotech, Polar Guard. So, again, there's a lot more to it. I'm just giving you the basic. Take it and run with it. When you have snow, use basic Type 4 and see how long it would take. And to be safe, just always go with the conservative. Like if you say you're in a time crunch and maybe something has changed, maybe you said, it's light. I wouldn't, and you determine, my light window is an hour, but the moderate is 50 minutes. Well, I'm just going to go with the conservative out of the gate. I'm going to say, hey, the shortest holdover time is 50 minutes. That's the most conservative. That's what I'm going to go with. So that way you're always on the safe side, because if you make an error determining which range you can use, if you stay with the most conservative, it's hard to point blame at you for doing something wrong. So always pick the lower number of the holdover time, unless you're really trying to squeeze it. Maybe there's a takeoff line, or you know the conditions are improving, you know it's going to get better. These are all other things that are coming into effect in the flight crew's mind when they're doing de-icing procedures. How do seriously cold weather airports cope? Do they de-ice at the runway? Paint. Some do, yeah. Some de-ice right at the hold short line. They do indeed. Okay. I got to finish what we're doing here. We need to do our takeoff perf, and then we got to get out of here. And then we're going to talk about engine run-ups. We're going to have to do an engine run-up as well. So, departure performance. Let's do this. What are the chemical differences between fluid types? Stratocast, that I actually don't know what the chemical differences are. I'm sure they're not good for you, though, either way. We're going to do a wet runway here. We're doing optimum. We're going to force Toga because it is contaminated. Anti-ice is going to be on. Engine and packs are going to be on. And we'll sync final, and we'll sync live, and we'll calculate. See what we get here. No, it's not up to you as a captain to choose what type of fluid you get. That's you're going to be told what fluid they're using at the facility. It's up to you to determine if you need a one-step de-ice or a two-step de-ice, and then it's also up to the crew to determine their actual holdover time when you have that range. If you got a range from 50 minutes to an hour and 10 minutes, if you take 50 minutes, you won't be faulted for doing something wrong because you just picked the most conservative value. But if you get all the way to the runway and you know you're going to be 55 minutes, do you really want to go back and de-ice and delay the flight probably another hour? If you can calculate a more accurate holdover time to get you that extra 5 minutes, that's when you would do that extra calculation. Like I would know, okay, here's my absolute min. If we need more, what is the prevailing visibility? Go to the visibility chart, determine the temperature, determine the intensity of the precipitation, and then you can go back to the other chart and apply it. So you could see where what I'm really trying to get across here is it's a very complex process, and there's a lot going on up front. And whenever snowstorms hit airports, it just everything slows down. Everything slows down. It's not necessarily unsafe. It's just that everything has to slow down because there are so many more procedures that go into effect. All right, here we go. We got 1740 40 flaps 1. So 117, 140, 140. Flaps 1 is set. We're doing a Toga takeoff off runway 21. That looks good. We're disconnected from up front. All right, I think we're ready for pushback and departure. You guys have been briefed. I've been briefed. We're going to go prepare. Do I want to request de-icing? Yes.
The icing vehicles are coming now.
So they're going to go ahead and get the outside pulled away, get all the things disconnected. Now we need to go ahead and configure. We did this yesterday. So we won't spend too much time on it, but let's go ahead and ensure the parking brake is set. External air is disconnected. Cabin pressure mode selector is in auto. Engine bleed 1 and 2, they are coming off. APU bleed is coming off, so hopefully the cabin is nice and warm. Ditching push button on, so we're going to go ahead and close all the open valves below the waterline. Broadband switch, Wi-Fi aircraft only off. I don't think we have a broadband switch. Typically right back here on this road. That does not apply. Thrust levers are idle. If engine shut down, engine anti-ice is off and engine masters are off, which they are. We're doing a shutdown, engine shutdown de-ice. Notify passengers. Well, ladies and gentlemen from the flight deck, as you can tell here, we're just getting ready to be sprayed with some de-icing fluid. They're going to be coming on either side of the aircraft.
Confirm aircraft is ready for treatment.
Nothing to worry here, nothing to see here. We'll be fine. Just give us 5 minutes. Thank you. All right, we're going to do Type 4.
We begin treatment now and observe.
So, again, GSX will only...
100%. I will call you back when ready.
All right, so we are starting now, so I'm going to start the clock. So, in real life, you would do a two-step. You would do Type 1 first and then Type 4. But we're going straight to Type 4 because GSX. Have we cooled the cabin? We kind of forgot. But hopefully it won't take long. It's cold. It's cool enough outside. I actually warmed the cabin. I would warm the cabin in conditions like this. All right, now the procedure is going to get a little bit different for pushback and start because we're being sprayed with engines shut down. So we got some timing thing we got to do here. Let me pull it up. Ditching 1 minute after spraying. So we got to have at least 1 minute after spraying before we turn any bleeds on. If engine start is required. 5 minutes after spraying completion, APU bleed on. So we literally have to wait 5 minutes after the completion. So we've got our clock started for our holdover time, and then we're going to start another chrono after he finishes the spray, because we need 5 minutes before we can turn the APU bleed on. Again, that is to prevent any the contaminants being blown into the cabin. The ditching is pressed, yes. So it sounds like he's done. I'm going to go ahead and start the chrono, because I know he's done. So we got a 5-minute chrono on the right.
De-icing and anti-icing completed. Anti-icing code is fluid type 4. Concentration at 100%.
So we have fluid type 4, 100%. So again, you can go back to your chart. We are fluid type 4. Now I have mine up. I don't have the Clariant one. Which one did I upload to you guys? I think I uploaded this one. So 100% fluid type 4.
Due to icing conditions, please stand by for engine start until push is completed and brakes are set.
We're between -3 and -8, so we got plenty of time, upwards of an hour. So we are good to go. We have at least 5 minutes until we can start, though.
We are ready for pushback.
All right, stand by. All right, reconfigure. So de-icing has been completed. Let's go ahead and reconfigure the aircraft. Ditching push button is back to off. Outflow valve check open. So we want to make sure that our outflow valve is opening. You can see it opening right here. Again, that's below the waterline, right? So when you press that ditching push button, it closes the outflow valve.
Departure checks completed. Bypass pin inserted.
Outflow valve is open. Greater than 1 minute after spraying, engine bleed 1 and 2, but we know that won't apply because we have at least 5 minutes before we can open the APU. So we're going to hang tight here. Everything else is pretty much ready to go. Flaps are 0, everything ready to go. All right. We need to go nose right, tail left.
Locking gear.
There's our final. We got 2 standbys. Ryan, yeah, if you want that chart, I posted it in the Discord as just an image. So you can just go pick it up, download it. It's right above the live stream alert in the Discord if you want that chart. Have it for your own flight simulation pleasures. You can see here, look, the snow is actually picking up in intensity.
Release parking brakes, please.
Brakes released, clear to push.
Push. Due to icing conditions, please stand by for engine start
All
until
right.
push is completed and brakes are set.
Well, it's been at 1 minute since spraying is completed, so we can go ahead and get the engine bleeds on, but we have to wait at least 3 more minutes before we can turn the APU bleed on, which means we can't even start the engines for another 3 minutes. If we take a look at the cabin condition, you can see here, it's still nice and toasty, 78 degrees, so we're looking good. Nice toasty cabin. It's actually a little bit hot. Does de-icing ever happen with the windows running? Yes, it does indeed. We did that yesterday. That was when we de-iced on a remote de-ice. And Max, I forgot to answer your question. Yes, it is normal to de-ice at the gate. It just depends solely on the airport. The other day, going into Boston, I saw someone being sprayed at the gate. I don't know if it's because it was just they were getting frost off or what, but they also have de-ice pads. So it can vary on the operator, and it can vary on...
Parking brakes.
all right, brakes are set, clear disconnect.
Good engine start.
It can vary from airport to airport and operator to operator. All right, so while we've got another 2 minutes before we can even turn the APU bleed on. So after we start up, and in situations like this where you have a really slick ramp, you've got definite ice is going to be ingested into the engine as we taxi out. There are procedures for ground operations to do engine run-ups as required. So this is something that I don't think we've ever done on the channel. I've never really hit on, but it is a procedure, and we're going to tackle it today. So during ground operations, perform engine run-ups as required. Required in icing conditions if either the OAT is less than or equal to 3 degrees Celsius or significant engine vibration occurs. Engine vibration can occur on the ground because you have ice accumulating on the blades, and maybe maybe it was on the blades as you were starting engines and it froze, and now you get that vibe. So how are we gonna get it off? We're actually gonna run it up and try to shear that ice off and clear the engine fan blades. So for CEO aircraft, at intervals not more than 15 minutes apart, advance to a minimum of 50% N1 momentarily in accordance with the AOM or whatever volume 2 procedures you have for cold weather ops. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do that. We're going to do a 50% run-up, no more than 15 minutes apart. So it would really kind of depend on your taxi time and all that. And what you can do, a lot of times you may see this too, would be like a stealth run-up. So if it's 15 minutes from engine start to takeoff, I'll just do the run-up right at the runway, like as we're in position hold. So spool them up 50 and hold it, make sure everything, engine parameters, check everything looks good, the vibes are good, and then blast off. That will satisfy the requirement for an engine run-up. The last time I had to do an engine run-up that wasn't on the runway, it was actually in DFW last winter. You saw that picture there at the beginning of the stream where everyone getting de-iced. We had a freak snowstorm kind of blow through, and we actually had some ice accretion on the blades, and we did have a high vibe. And we did an engine run-up, and it cleared it up. So it is a procedure, albeit not very common. It does happen, and we're going to tackle it today. All right, 5 minutes. Beautiful. We can go ahead and kill the chrono. APU bleed is on. Let's go ahead and start them up. Engine mode to ignition start. Here we go. Turn it on. It was so quiet, I was wondering what's happening there. How do you get the mini FCU? When it's available. It's not available yet. Right now it's being shipped to all the backers right now. It started as a Kickstarter project. Alright, let's wait for the avail light on number 1, and then we're going to go right into number 2. Now, I can even see the vibe bug here. But we'll see if we can handle it, if it'll clear itself. Let's go ahead and start into number 2. Those aren't the mighty leaps, I know. I guess it's a bad day at the office when the run-up causes even worse vibration. Kanopi, I'm glad you're enjoying the content, man. Yeah, it's kind of like a fire hose of information just blast off, but I feel like it's a good refresher for me because it is winter season now. And, you know, we never, you know, oh, engine anti-ice on, good. That's pretty much the extent that we talk about here on the channel. But this is kind of an insight to some more real stuff. And really, this is only... maybe a little bit more than scratching the surface, but like it's kind of just scratching under the surface of whole cold weather ops, like as far as real life is concerned. I mean, there's multiple charts, there's multiple visibility charts, all that stuff. And it can change on a fly too. Like you could be taxiing out to the runway, and then a new ATIS comes out, the visibility is dropped, so now you got to recalculate the snowfall intensity, and that may just shrunk your holdover time. So it's a very busy, very high task saturation environment. All right, we got 2 good starts. We're going to go here. We're not even going to arm the spoilers because we got to wait at least 3 minutes prior to takeoff. But what we can do, let's go ahead and get the engine anti-ice on. We'll go ahead and turn the APU bleed off. We'll go ahead and turn the APU master switch off. All right, during taxi to runway, if required, determine holdover time and calculate expiration. We said we've got about 55 minutes on the most conservative side. So, you know, 55 minutes, oh, that sounds like a lot. Look, we've already ate up 10 minutes. We only have 45 minutes. And in real life, you know, with traffic, you might have another 30-minute taxi, places like Chicago, Kennedy, LaGuardia. So now you got 30 minutes on top of 10 minutes just to get after we got sprayed. That's 40 minutes. You really only have 15 more minutes until the holdover time. So while those numbers sound quite large, and remember, that was only for a moderate intensity. If it was heavy or anything more than that, or actually that was a light intensity. So anything more than that, you could see where these times they really start to shrink down and starts to crunch down the crew. All right, perform takeoff, pre-takeoff checks periodically, and approximately 3 minutes prior to takeoff, we will do rudder trim, flaps, flight controls, mini brief, taxi and lineup flow, and checklist. So we're going to hold everything there. Everything is held there, and dome light is off. Taxi light is on. Are you still able to take off after holdover time? Andrew, that depends. If you do a pre-takeoff contamination check and your holdover times are no longer valid, like say that it's got better, then you could. But you have to do a pre-takeoff contamination check. All right, we're going to make a right-hand turn out, and man, on the visibility here, this is probably more than light. All right, 122.8. I don't think there's anybody here, right? There's nobody here, so we don't even need to make any radio calls. Let's go ahead and blast off. Let's go. Brakes released. Is there any concern for ice accumulation where flaps, slats retract? Yes, that's why we don't deploy the flaps or slats until 3 minutes prior to takeoff. So we're going to taxi around on the ground here without deploying our flaps and slats. I was told once of a crew who needed the de-icing guys to defrost the main door to get in. I believe it. I had to do that to my truck one time when I was flying freight. I landed up in the panhandle of Texas, and I couldn't get into my truck because an ice storm blew through, and I had to use some de-ice fluid from the FBO so I can get my door open, and then it broke my little step plate thing. All right, nice and slow taxi. So I still carry a little notebook with me, and I was just going over it the other day. I might bring it on stream when I have it. I don't have it. I think it's in my truck right now. And when I go through it, it's basically all little tidbits of information that I've not necessarily experienced as a captain, but like just pointers like, hey, remember this or do this or do this. And I was reading it yesterday, and I have in big red letters, I used a red pen, talking about, I was reading my like adverse weather notes, and the number one thing I wrote there in big red letters was slow the F down. And that is very true. When you're taxiing around in conditions like this, you may not know it. You may go right on a piece of black ice, and you're going to start sliding. So the only taxi as fast as you are willing to hit something, especially in conditions like this. So we're keeping it right about 10 knots here. Nice and easy, symmetrical thrust. No wouldn't do a single engine taxi in this. So, nope, packs are on. Hey, on to the wind. Good to see you, man. How's deer season over there? Man, I was just looking at a buck and a couple other small deer this morning out underneath the deer feeder. Quite a few deer out here in South Georgia. Some serious whitetail. Fun fact, Type 4 anti-icing is propylene glycol, which is one of the two base liquids in a vape. Really? Well, good thing I don't vape. I had to de-ice the freewheel on my bike once by peeing on it. Jesus, Romulus. Hey, it works, right? Does minifcu work with the Fenix? So it works to where the knobs work, but as you can see, there's nothing displayed. Wow, this is actually getting worse here. We might actually have to pull over a visibility holdover chart here. I'm actually curious now. Where can I get the ATIS? Let's do it this way. What's the METAR right now for Spokane? 1/2 mile, light snow, mist, overcast 200, surface visibility 1. So it's a 1/2 mile. I'm gonna look it up in my chart here as soon as we get short of the runway. So you see this pad here. This might be a de-icing pad. That way guys can just take off right away. So that's what a lot of times you'll see airports like this where they'll have, this is where everyone will be getting sprayed. So you go literally from being sprayed, because you can have holdover times down to like single digit numbers, like less than 10 minutes of a holdover time. So, you know, you need a couple minutes for engine warm up and then you have to take off. So we're actually going to hold short of the ILS critical area, which is this hold line here, not the traditional one. Let's go ahead and set the brake. We'll kill the taxi light. And we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to do a engine run-up, but before we do that, I want to look up the actual visibility here, the actual snow chart here. Let me see. De-icing procedures, holdover, ice pellet times. Where the hell is table 50? Determination. I need to look at determination. Oh, and as whoever asked the flap and slat, we actually have a procedure for that. Guidelines for Type 3, Type 4 fluid when flap slats are deployed prior to de-icing. But that would be considered an abnormal. So yeah, we are actually in moderate right now. So we would only have, if I just use the generic chart, I'm getting ACARs from the gate. Where was my generic Type 4 again? Type 4, generic. So yeah, we only have 10 to 25 minutes. So yeah, we're probably pretty much at the limit. All right, what is this? Latter-day Saints, I'm assuming, since we're out here in Salt Lake area. What's up with that? Huh. Okay, that's weird. I thought we had a ATC message. Oh, is it on our, oh, our CBDLC. Cool. We'll decline that for sure. We'll just turn it off. All right. Engine vibe check. So let's do that first. Brakes are set. Let's see if this will actually clear here. So we're going to do 50% N1. Let's go ahead and spool it up. Man, the sounds are so nice. So that would definitely clear any of those vibes. That's a bug. We know that's a bug. But all right, it's 3 minutes prior to takeoff. Let's go ahead and configure the aircraft. Flaps, position 1. Speed brake is armed. Flaps are coming out. We're going to do a flight control check, and we're out of here. All right, auto brakes max. Takeoff config check. PWS on. Auto. TARA. And let's do a flight control check. Full up, full down, neutral, full left, full right, neutral, rudder, full left. I don't have my tactical flip-flops. Full right, neutral. I think we're like 0.3 down. That's pretty much standard. All right, everything's ready to go. We'll get terrain on. We are 20 minutes, so that's our time for takeoff from holdover. 20 minutes since we've been sprayed. Let's go ahead and get out of here. Let's line it up. We are cleared for takeoff. Still short of 200 likes. Uh-oh, what do we got? Well, yeah, if we hit 200 likes, we would be doing a packs off takeoff, but we don't have 200 likes, so that's going to be the new standard operating procedure at V1 channel. If we hit 200 likes prior to takeoff, we'll go packs off. But if we're sub 200 likes prior to takeoff, we're just going to do it the lame way, packs on. All right, clear left. Man, visibility is dropping. The engine anti-ice is on after start, thrust set. The wing anti-ice, we talked about it yesterday, that will only turn that on after we have a clean wing, right? So we're going to try to, this is where we're actually going to use that Toga thrust to our advantage here. We're going to accelerate rapidly. Runway heading 210, that checks. 191, let's do a final like check here. 193, like check is 192. We didn't make it, so here we go. Enjoy the lame-o potato takeoff. Spool them up 50. Yoga. Now let's pay specific attention to our engine instruments. I know you can't see them. I'm going to look at them. 8.7 on the vibes. That's not very good. Toga SRS runway auto thrust is blue. Thrust set. 100 knots. Check. V1. Rotate. Positive rate. Gear up. Navin. Not much to see. We'll do a quick fly with. Watch your ears. Not much to see. Let's fly the airplane. That would have been so much cooler packs off. Alright, there's lever climb. Nope, I guess we never turned the transponder on. Way to go, FO. Man, MCT, we're gonna let it sit in MCT here for a second. And now this is where I'm actually gonna be a pilot, and I'm gonna actually come down a little bit lower than that command bar, because I want to accelerate a little bit more rapidly, right? I know I'm in active icing conditions, and we can't get that wing anti-ice on until we get a clean wing. So there's S-speed, flaps 0. After takeoff checklist. You want to be careful you don't descend there, and we lower that nose like that, but nice easy climb up. Now we can go right into climb thrust. We got a clean wing, thrust climb. Wing anti-ice is on, thrust climb, climb, nav. Let's go ahead and engage autopilot 1. What are we? Delta 357. Fly heading 200. Heading 200, Delta 357. And there's our breakout. We should take our likes back with the lame takeoffs then. I'm a man of the people. You guys didn't hit the like button, so. Why can't you do wing if the wing is not clean? Did I miss the explanation there? No, that's just part of the Airbus procedure. Wing anti-ice is supposed to come on after you have a clean wing. Where is the icing? I thought this was a baking stream. Jeez. Is it too late to cancel my flight? Hey, you're Nick. Good to see you. All right, so we're pretty much out of it now. Let's go ahead and we'll turn off the wing anti-ice. Probably see a little adjustment in N1s. There we go, as the valves close. Now, what's interesting, we still have an advisory 8.8 on the vibes, but we know that's a bug. Nothing we can do to fix it. We're going to keep sending it here. Delta 357, fly heading 230. 230. So you can see here mini FCU still working properly, just unfortunately you can't see it in the actual mini FCU box. There's 10,000 feet. I need my mini light panel next. See, oh my gosh. At a 10,000 feet. Delta 357, when able, proceed direct YKM. Thrust climb open, climb nav. We're at a 10,000 feet. We'll go ahead and copy the secondary. Nothing in our rad nav to hard tune. I'm going to put in Seattle here, our destination, 183 miles, short flight. And we're pretty much out of all icing conditions, so let's go ahead and get the engine anti-ice off. As a real-world pilot, any opinions on Beyond ATC? I actually am not really familiar with what Beyond ATC is, so I don't have any opinions on it. Sorry. But there we go. Now we can enjoy. Let's go back into regular cam. Wing nuts here. An A220 can use wing anti-ice with flaps, but if we use it above 350, the wing catches fire, so choose wisely. Jeez! Man, proof again that it is nothing more than an adopted Airbus. The Adoptibus. Yakima. Aviator Nick coming in with a 10 New Zealand super chat. Is my alert box off? Make sure it's on. Aviator Nick, I appreciate that super chat. Says, great to catch you live, V1. Can't stay long as I have an A320 to catch myself out of Wellington to Christchurch. Aviator Nick, I swear you're always flying, my man. You're always flying. No icing conditions, just overcast and windy. Aviator Nick, I appreciate the support, my friend. Go catch that A320 flight. Hopefully it's a nice smooth landing for you when you arrive into Christchurch. That ought to be a pretty flight for sure. We did that on the sim. So, how to buy a mini FCU when it is released. It's not released publicly yet. Right now, they're just fulfilling the Kickstarter backers. So I think we should do. Should we do a Cat 3? Let's see here. Let's put a poll in chat. Because I think, from what I've been told, the weather in Seattle is supposed to be getting worse. What do they have going on right now? Oh, 10 miles? Never mind. We won't do an auto land. We'll just do a regular landing. I thought the visibility was supposed to be dropping today. Will it still be the Adoptibus when they release the long version and replace the 320? Zippy Zapple, stop swearing at me. Don't talk about that. Poppycock. I live just north of Yakima. People sleep on Central Washington. Side stick, FSprojects. There is a link in the description. Or exclamation point stick, I believe, will get you there. Did they fix the issue where there is snow on the runways? I don't know which issue you're referring to, but I didn't see any snow on the runways when we took off. What I do know, we have a vibe issue, but that's just normal for the Fenix bug right now. Alright, we're close enough to 18,000. Let's pull standards, STDs for you, me, and the Jub Seater. Where's our standard altimeter in here? Oh, just one of them fancy fighter pilot ones. What is standard in 1013? Okay. 1013, close enough. That's a fancy wing nut altimeter right there. Alright, 1013 is set. Looking forward to winter ops in Maine. Ooh, yes. Did Nightbot never join the channel? I don't think Nightbot ever joined, did he? What's going on with that, Nightbot? Hold on. Joining. I don't know if Nightbot's having a hard time. I don't know if he's going to join. V1, do you know if Throttletek are going to dev a King Air 350 throttles? Ailerons in the wind? I don't believe so. I wish they would, man. I really wish they would. I spoke with Roberto. The problem is that props are so hard to... Like, it's very difficult to get to bind correctly because everybody does it differently as well. So the last I spoke to him, I don't think he's has any King Air stuff in the works. But they do have a Q400 prop, right? Or a Q... They do have a turbo prop Quadrant, but I don't have any experience with it. Just saw something interesting in Fenix Discord. Maybe minifcu fully working with the Fenix is nearer than I thought. Fragtality coming in with a info bomb here. So he's saying that they might have FC working with the Fenix closer than what most people think. Well, that's good. Let me grab a water here real quick, guys. I'm getting thirsty. All right, we're back. Had a little cappuccino and then didn't have any water. Oregon Aviator, welcome to the stream. Glad to have you on board. Short flight today. We're climbing out of 22 for 320. It's actually pretty smooth up here. Let's go ahead and turn that seatbelt sign off. Short flight. We'll let him enjoy the lavatory facilities. Team Vodka got bonked from Nightbot? Really? Oh, Nightbot's here. Who got... What did you get? What did he say? What did you say, Team Vodka, to get... Well, that's weird. I don't know why you got... Doesn't know what a METAR is. Frank Talley says, I just saw a short clip. Moby flight in the background. And the README, of course. So apparently minifcu is already supported by Movi flight, although the mini cockpit says otherwise. So would I have to install some Mobi flight software then? Is that what we're saying? Wow, look at that. Look at these winter low-level clouds. Love it. Oh, you posted the actual METAR. Try it again, Team Vodka. I don't pay her enough. Miss the days of the PowerPoint live streams. Rex? No, please don't bring me back to those, man. You know, what's interesting as I think back when I was... Because I was trying to stream on a very, very poor radio wireless internet back then. And what happened was... Do you remember the Hawaiian A321neo stream we did? It was like a 10-hour stream, I think, or maybe like 8 hours. That stream pretty much had no stutter issues or no drop frames, and that was on that crappy internet. Like, I don't realize how lucky we were when we did that. That was when the Neo hadn't even released yet, the 321 Neo for X-Plane 11. What's your secret to buttering the 320? The pitch down over the threshold always makes me slam it. I don't really have any secrets. Just practice. And make sure that you're coming in stable. So remember, 30 feet, we get a snapshot. Or actually, no, was it 50 feet? I can't remember. 50, 30 feet, the Neo's different. But regardless, between 30 and 50 feet, it's going to take a snapshot. It's going to memorize the position. Then the THS is going to trim down. So if you're in a bad position when the snapshot is taken, that's going to affect your landing. We talked about this at length on one stream. But if I were to say any tips, make sure you're stable coming across the threshold. You got to be stable first. If you're not stable, you're not going to have a nice landing. You got to be stable coming across the threshold. Nightbot's about to form a union. Canadian holdover times as a reply. Can't leave our cold Mexico friends out of the winter ops loop. There you go. Fly Live not working? Really? Looks like it's working. Let me see. Looks like it's working on my end. Is it not working on the overlay? Oh, you know what? It might have got, I think I know what happened. Probably when we reset at the gate and GSX and all that. We'll do a little one of these. There we go. Maybe a good time to define stable, on speed, sinking no less than 700 feet a minute, or no more than about 700 feet a minute. You should be right around that 500 to 700 foot per minute descent rate. And you're on speed. You don't want to be slow, you don't want to be fast. Being faster is less dangerous than being slower, but still not optimal. And a stable target, technically 1,000 feet, you should be configured to land at 1,000 feet, VAP plus 20 and decreasing, right? You'd be slowing down to your VAP speed. 500 feet, you should be pretty much plus or minus 5 knots on your speed, fully configured, ready to land. Ever fly the CL650, the Challenger? No. No, I did not. I had an opportunity to, actually, when I flew corporate. They wanted me to come back, and actually when I went to the airlines, they wanted me to come back to corporate and fly a Challenger, but no, I did not. We are on that sim. Pretty quiet, though. No less than 700 feet a minute, that's a Fly Navy requirement. Yeah, all bets are off when you're landing on a boat. Does your carrier have an app to help with holdover times, or are you digging through the tables yourself? Nope, we have the tables, and you pretty much just find them. But like in the U.S., it's pretty much always the same thing. Like I can't remember the last time. Well, it's been a while since I've been de-iced because I try to avoid it by bidding away from snowstorms, but sometimes it's unavoidable. And most of the time, I think it's that Clarion stuff. So just favorite that chart, and you're good to go. Has Phoenix to GSX ever been buggy for you? I was doing V-Spirit ops out of LaGuardia, defueled right before takeoff. I was wondering why it's such a rocket. BKG Blueface, I haven't had that experience yet. As far as this is like my third flight with it. And from what I've experienced, it's pretty solid. Haven't really had any issues. But it is nice. It kind of just gets everything going. It does everything that I would want it to do, really. So gets the airplane, gets the catering truck even, gets the fueling going. So I haven't had any, knock on wood, issues with it yet. Here we go, leveling 320. Man, what a nice morning out here in the Pacific Northwest. Let's just enjoy that view for a minute. Pete S, 16 months of support. I appreciate you, my friend. Says thanks. Cheers for the stream. I have to go make dinner. Otherwise, Mrs. Pete will remove football watching privileges on the weekend. But we don't want that, Pete. And I appreciate your support, man. Hope you're cooking something good. We'll take it easy, my friend. Clarion Safe Wing or whatever. Yeah, that's. I think that's what it is. The most common one. Doesn't stable mean the PIC tray table and tax return is complete and the pen is back in the holder? Yep. Speaking of, don't even get me going on taxes, man. I'm going to get absolutely crushed for Georgia taxes this year. Southwest is trying the Hot app, and it pulls weather from the METAR. Well, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. It'd be nice to have an app, for sure, but nope. We got to do it the old-fashioned way. All right, we do need to get... let's refresh. Let's see what we got down there in Seattle. 100 at 6. We got to start prepping. Short flight, but we spent a lot of time on the ground. We talked a lot, so hopefully you have some content to chew on for a few days when it comes to anti-ice, de-ice. Temperature 429er86. Whoops, wrong camera. Temperature 429er86. ILS 16 center. I should know this. This used to be our recurrent every single year, pretty much. Should know this by heart. God J7. I don't know why you keep getting... Oh, I see what you're saying. What? Oh, you're trolling. That's why Nightbot is slamming you. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll fix you right here. Let's just... You've already been warned by Nightbot, so let's just go ahead and get rid of him. We don't have time for folks that can't read around here. Alright. Arrivals, ILS 16 Centa. 6:30 on the ILS. Should we do an auto land just for fun? Should we test it since we're getting into it? Oh, it's you deleting them. Oh. Thanks, Google. Well, either way, he's gone. Let me do a poll. What do you guys want to do? Auto land? Or should we try to land it? Auto land. You tell me what y'all want to see. Start poll. Attempt to write some software to decode METARs, not for the faint of the heart. There's quite a few... there's some programs out there that will do decoded METAR. I tell you what, the best METAR tool that I have is actually a text messaging the weather station. Did I give you all that number? Let's see. The flight, basically you can text the METAR. So, if you're in the U.S., I don't know if this works outside of the U.S. Let me show you on the cameras. If I go to this camera here. So basically, I'll give you the number. This is what it says. Oh, you're not going to be able to see it because it's black. It's blared out. So, the number is... right, 358-782. So, text, I'll put this in chat, if you're in the U.S., 358-782. And let's say you want to see the METAR for an airport. So you would type MTKDFW. Hope Nightbot doesn't spank me. So you text that number, and then you put MT and then the ICAO. And it will send you the actual METAR and the TAF for that airport. And I believe you can configure it to like decode it, but I don't remember how to do that. But you just text 358-782, and then you put MT for METAR, or you could put TAF if you just want the TAF, and then the ICAO code. Sidestep to 16, right? What am I? Am I going to overfly Team Vodka again and cut him off? Man, did y'all see that video? Here's the other thing. I don't know if I want to start another type of channel, but I'm seeing a lot of these like, oh, pilot reacts to scenario or a close call, or I actually saw this on a channel that's completely unrelated to aviation, but he even brought it up. But it was the American Airbus landing in, I think they were landing in Kennedy, and that Pilatus cut him off, and the controller didn't even phase the controller. It was like the controller had no idea what was going on. And if it wasn't for that American Airlines crew seeing visually that PC-12, I think it was a PC-12, they probably would have collided. Just crazy. I mean, I don't know how we got on this. Oh, we were talking about me cutting off Team Vodka on final. But yeah, jokes aside, I mean, there have been some seriously close calls as of late. So just a reminder to anybody out there that's watching this that is a real pilot, just remember, stay vigilant this holiday season. Don't get complacent. I mean, the worst complacency comes on clearing a million, no weather. You know, you're just doing your thing, you're not paying attention, and that's when bad things can happen. So just a little tip there for all you real world pilots out there. Stay vigilant. You just tried it. It's pretty neat. Nice. Yeah, so there you go. So I use that quite a bit. You know, when I'm on the plane train going to the terminal for the airplane, I'll tell you know, where's my destination, put in MTKMSP or whatever, just so I can get a look, see before I get the paperwork and all that, and stay ahead of things. Y'all need to stop giving clearances when aircraft are on the runway or when you're number 2 in approach. Yeah, number 2, 3, 4 in approach I've had. The other day, I think I was number 3 coming back into Atlanta. Number 3, clear to land, 9 right. Like, or, yeah, 9 right. All right, coming down the arrival, I think it's going to be a bottom. Well, Jinru's at 7, so let's go ahead and set 7. So again, we'll use our mini FCU, but remember, you can't see it, which is unfortunate, but you can still manipulate the airplane with it, and according to Fractality, it may be coming sooner than not, so that would be pretty cool. We got our LS push buttons on, and let's see, how'd our poll do? Let's take a look at the poll. Ooh, we want to do an auto land. All right, let's get set up for a quick auto land. We'll do a quick briefing, and first we'll do a quick setup. So to do an auto land, a couple things got to change here. We're going to clear out the barrel. We're going to put no in the in the radio field here. By putting no for minimums, that means we basically have no minimums on this approach. This approach is going to terminate neither an auto land or a go around. There's no in between. We're not clicking it off and landing. We are auto landing or we're going around. So our mins are say no DH up here on the glass, which it does. Our LS push buttons are on. In a situation where you would be auto landing, the rollout is going to be dependent upon how many brakes, how much braking action you want. So if it's auto land for real, you have to follow the high vis or low vis taxi charts, I should say. And I know from experience, ILS 16 center, when RVR is less than, I think, 300 or 500 or whatever their low vis chart is, the only taxiway that is lit is down here at the very end. So let's actually look it up here. Let's see which one. So that would help you with determining your, well, I don't want to use medium brakes and stop at the midpoint of the runway if I can only exit on the last taxiway. So I'll show you, I'll give you an example here. So we got to look for the low vis taxi charts. Landing 16, 12 to 500, less than 500 VOR. 16 left center, less than 12 to 5. Low vis taxi routes. Where's their really low one? Less than RVR 500. Aha. So less than RVR 500. The only taxiway you can exit is Papa here. I guess you could go to Quebec as well. So you wouldn't want to use medium brakes and stop here because now you got to taxi all the way down the runway. You can't take November, you can't take Mike. So that goes into your planning purposes. But we're doing a practice auto land, so we're not going to apply that procedure for this specific landing. Let's go ahead and do our, not Navigraph, let's do our landing perf. Let's see what it is. We'll use manual brakes or low brakes just to see how our rollout is, but real life scenario or a real auto land scenario, you would definitely plan your braking accordingly. 16 center, we'll say it's good condition. We'll apply the METAR landing weight. We'll just take the current 134.8. We'll enter that. Low auto brakes, idle to no reverse, auto thrust, flaps full, auto land. And you can see here we've got our crosswind component, 5 knots, so we're legal for an auto land. No tailwind, 3 knot headwind component. Factored landing distance is 8,600 feet with an actual of 7,400 feet. That's with low brakes. So we'll use low brakes because I also don't have my tactical flip-flops installed. Oh, we were supposed to descend. Let's go ahead and manage that descent. We're thrust idle descent. We're high on the descent profile now. We got to catch up to it. Dive, dive, dive. Seatbelt signs coming on. TCAS is going into below mode. And let's see if we can catch up to this descent profile. We just popped everybody's ears. Complex question. If the aircraft loses all power, if it's fly-by-wire, you still have controls? No. If you have 0 electrical power, you have no control. So that's why people say, what's the lifeblood of the airplane? Oh, hydraulics. Well, yes, but if you have hydraulics and no electrical power, you're dead. You're dead stick. So you need electrical current. You got to protect your batteries. We hit on that a little bit on the 320 stream in X-Plane about when we talked about dual engine failure, what's the worst thing you can do at altitude? Start the APU, because now you're above APU starter limitations. So what do you do when you have a dual engine failure at 35,000 feet and try to start the APU? You just fried your batteries, core locked your APU, and you're a dead stick all the way to the ground. So protect your batteries. Now, you wouldn't need APU and RAT to fail, Zippy. You would need to incorrectly handle a dual engine failure at altitude, and you could put yourself in a scenario with no electrical power. The reason it worked for Sully, you know, his famous words, "Oh, I'm starting the APU." The reason it worked for Sully is because he was at low altitude. Or fly a 737 manual reversion. True, you could do that. Wingnut, does your Adoptibus have any manual reversion capabilities? Like, is there any way? I wouldn't imagine so, because it's a side stick, right? Is there any? Is it kind of the same deal for you? If you have zero electrical output, you're dead stick as well in that wannabe Airbus. I am completely addicted to the text METAR service. Hey, at least we did one thing right on stream then. You all got a text METAR service. So it is fully fly-by-wire. Yep. All right, well, we're in the same boat then, Wingnut. I would imagine you guys have APU starter limitations at altitude as well. I think ours is mid-20s, right? 24? No, 28? Shoot, I can't remember. You would think it would be a mandatory limitation to memorize. All I know is it's mid to high 20s. It depends on the APU. We have two different APUs. Did him turning on the APU so early prevent the RAT deploying? Zippy, from what I remember learning, man, my Rex AccuSeasons is not working. That's so lame. It's way too green down there. Let's hit the magic barrel ref key. From what I remember, Zippy, is the engines, while they spooled back, they were still providing electrical power. That's why the RAT didn't deploy. So remember, you have to have complete loss of AC bus 1 and 2, and even though the engine had spooled down, it did not completely stop generating. That's what I remember being told. I could be wrong, but I feel like that was the answer I was told. I'm sure someone in chat might know. Hope that text METAR service doesn't charge you per request. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Only 20K for you, Wingnut? Wow, that's pretty low. Yeah, ours is, I want to say it's 26 or 28. The lowest one. I think we have one that starts at 30. But the lowest one is like 20, I'll just say 26. I'm going to check my credit card statement for charges from the V1 HQ from the tech service. Oh, man. All right, well, we're definitely coming in hot here. Let's go ahead and get some Chinese speed brakes on, help slow us down. Wing lights are on. We're going into some icing conditions here. Do not delay on the engine anti-ice, so we are TAT 0, visible moisture, that is icing conditions. So let's go ahead and get those on. The new AccuSeason Advance is great, but it's stupid. So Dougal, that's my problem. It's like the installation, it's telling me that I need a new net framework, but I already installed it. I don't know. I tried installing it like 4 different times. I'm going to have to do it again. I don't know what's going on with the Dougal. Yeah, I tried getting the Rex AccuSeason Advanced, but it just wouldn't, it says it wouldn't run. So I don't know what the deal is. Are we going to find out? Oh, it's Delta Tango. That's funny. During the pandemic, New York Approach was crazy overwhelmed because they lowered the amount of people on duty. Made flying around pretty well, and his ATC was doing 4 frequencies at once. Oh yeah, the ATC shortage right now is a real thing as well. So there's a whole lot we could talk about the whole ATC thing, which I'm not going to get into on stream. But there's just a lot. There was a lot of mismanagement of that whole thing, going all the way back to when Obama was president, and it's just been going back to when Reagan fired 10,000 air traffic controllers. So, long story short, you fire 10,000 air traffic controllers at once, you replace them, they're all going to retire at the same time. You combine that with different hiring practices and lowering the requirements to become one. Now you've pretty much just created a recipe for a degradation in ATC services. And those guys are stressed, man. Those guys and gals working. I had one just the other day. This actually be a good podcast, but LaGuardia, tower controller, she tried to clear me for takeoff. She's like, traffic on short final. I'm landing on that crossing runway. Was it 22 or whatever, 21? And I'm like, it was the wrong call sign. So I didn't respond. And then she called again, right call sign, wrong numbers, clear for takeoff. And so I queried her. I said, confirm whatever our numbers were. And she's like, yes, that's what I said. I'm like, you've called us the wrong thing. And cancel takeoff. I'm like, okay, well, we never even moved, but you're getting upset at me, but you're calling me the wrong number? Like, I'm not going to take off for the wrong call sign. Yes, I'm in position, ready to take off. I think you are talking to me, but I'm not just going to take off with the wrong call sign. It's just wild, man. You got to be careful out there right now. You got to be real careful. Apparently, controllers in DC refuse to refer to it as Reagan National. Really? I think I've heard some. I think I've heard them call it Reagan. Or no, you're right. They call it National. They call it National, right? Been a long time since I've been up there in real life. All right, let's go ahead and let's just do an open descent. Let's go ahead and pull for open. Thrust idle, open descent, 7,000. I'm going to select speed, 250 knots. We'll also activate and confirm the approach phase. Engine anti-ice is on, and we are descending on down. Let's go ahead and turn up the sounds. Aviator, good to see you, man. Already in the arrival? Yeah, super quick flight. Do you find the modeling of crosswinds in Microsoft to be a bit overzealous? Yes, it can be. It's weird, Will, because like the winds will feel a little bit more potent than what they would feel like in real life. But then when you put in that correction, it doesn't actually blow your airplane the direction that you would be moving in a crosswind. So it is room for improvement indeed. Snowing down in Seattle, Tacoma? Nope, we just got some rain, it looks like. We got some rain. We're out of 9.3 for 7,250. Oh yeah, I need to start the replay. That's what we need. Let's get the replay up and running. We'll see how it auto lands. We're doing a practice auto land. Let's go ahead and get all the cams on, ready to go. What does activating approach phase do? It sets you up for when you select manage speed, it will begin slowing on profile for your speed extension. Or scratch that. When you've activated approach phase, when I manage the speed now, it's going to bug the approach. Whereas if you don't do that, it will automatically start decelerating, determined on its predetermined deceleration and what it needs. Now, when you're flying in an ATC environment, that's not necessarily what ATC needs, so you can have issues. All right, we're speed out star. We don't need to go all, let's continue to come down. Let's go to 6,000. Thrust idle, open descent. 6,000 is blue, although we can cut the corner in here a little bit early. Recorder is ready to go. Is the Airbus a bunch of micro movements in real life, and do you wish you could feel what you were doing? They are small movements. You want to make sure you have small. You don't want to over control it. Do you wish you could feel what you were doing? No, you can feel what you're doing just fine. If you think you can't feel what you were doing, then talk to Fly Navy about flying fly-by-wire aircraft. I mean, the F-16, the stick doesn't even move. You think those guys can't feel what they're doing? Just because it's fly-by-wire doesn't mean you don't feel what you're doing. You absolutely feel it. Matter of fact, you probably have more precision over the aircraft when flying fly-by-wire. Let's come down one more so we'll be below glide slope. 5,000, thrust idle, open descent. Let's come right back to 180 knots. Well, that was a little fast there on the speed. Does approach also arm the glide path? Approach mode does, correct. So when you press the approach push button, That will arm the glide slope and the localizer, or your final lap mode if you're in an RNAV. The only way you just get localizer if you just arm the localizer. So you can give yourself a localizer only, you know, say, hey, intercept the localizer, not the glide slope. That's a different clearance. You would hit the loc push button. I feel people shifting in their seats in the Twin Otter. Yep, bet you do. All right, let's go ahead and fly heading 270. Let's see where that puts us. And let's go ahead and shoot a line off of... Let's do it off of Magnum. 345. Insert. Select heading. VFE next -10. Flaps 1. In the turn there. Oh, man. Yeah, Rex acquisitions is all off. It looks pretty, though. Let's go ahead and flaps 2. I mean, that looks gorgeous, but it's definitely a little bit more brown, I think. Why not get the FMC on iPad? I don't know. It's because it's not an FMC. I don't know. I'd almost just rather do it by the screen on the PC screen. All right, let's see. Let's go. That's a little bit steep. Let's make it 190. Armed, glide slope blue, loc blue. How are your rotor pedals doing? Mine are so off from reality. Pilot Alex, I use the MFG crosswinds and I absolutely love them. I really don't have any gripes. Now, as far as reality, real Airbus pedals, I mean, I guess if I know MFG makes an Airbus pedal now, which is pretty cool. I have just the basic like 172 style pedals. I mean, they feel pretty good to me. I mean, it's, as far as a desktop sim, I have no complaints with them. What I really like about the MFG crosswinds is I add the dampener, and they're very adaptable. So you could fly helicopters, you could take the spring tension completely off. So where you leave it is where you move it is where they stay. I can crank the spring tension down, so it's much more resistance. They're very adaptable pedals. AFO, not yet, but it seems like it is closer than we may think for full compatibility with the FCU and the Fenix. That's some pretty lighting environment, though. Look at that. That is pretty good. Good. How does the Thrustmaster Airbus side stick compare with the real thing? Not at all. It's absolutely terrible. It always feels pretty strongly center spring to me. Yes, and I don't like to. It's not very realistic at all. Let's just say that. The TCA side stick, while it is a great budget option for a variety of airplanes, you know, as far as realistic compared to the Airbus, not even close. I'm not saying it's a bad side stick to have. I'm just saying if you want to compare it to the real thing, it is not close at all. Thrustmaster makes some good products, but that isn't one of them. Yeah, well, and the thing is, Andrew, people are like, oh, well, you just hate Thrustmaster. No, this stick is on a Thrustmaster base. It's a Warthog base. So, no, I don't hate Thrustmaster. They make some great products. I have their TCA yoke, which is also really good. I really like their TCA yoke. And like I said, this is on a Thrustmaster base. But that, as far as the TCA stick is concerned, no. This approach is looking juicy, though. Yeah, the yoke is great. I use the yoke even for prop planes, because I feel like I just have so much more fine control there, and that pendular motion. Awesome. All right, glide slope star, go around altitude is set 3,000. That should be blue, actually. Going altitude set 3,000. That should be blue. That's interesting. Why is that not? Huh. Anyway, going altitude set 3,000. Magenta. Maybe it's because we're above. We'll have to see here. We're flaps 2, 180 knots. There's nobody online. I guess we can make a radio call. Seattle traffic, Delta 357. We're on about a 15-mile final. LS 16 center, Seattle. Recording is on. I used to think the Thrustmaster Warthog stick was good until I tried Virpil. Well, Virpil is also phenomenal. Virpil is actually a better piece of hardware, but when it comes to my preference for the Airbus, I use the Warthog base. But I have the Virpil for DCS and pretty much everything else. That's CM2. I've got the CM2 Virpil base. Love it. Oh, the Sidewinder. I remember that. I used the Microsoft Sidewinder 2002 till 2 years ago when I got the Honeycomb Alpha and Bravo. Wasn't the Sidewinder force feedback? I love that Sidewinder, man. That light fog does look good. Fractality's got a good point. The Thrustmaster stick is just it's the 1600. That's what it is. Oh, look at this. Look at this, chat. Downtown Seattle. Thomas R., it's flying good. We're doing an auto land today, so I was getting ready to click it off. Oh, there's the Space Needle. A little bit of haze out here today. Oh, that is just looking fantastic. What a beautiful approach into the Pacific Northwest. No Seahawks down there. We're probably through 2,000. Nope, not yet. Okay, so now 3,000 is blue. So it's because we were above 3,000. That's interesting. All right, 3,000 blue for the go-around altitude. That looks good. We'll brighten up this PFD a little bit. All right, so a couple things here we're looking for on the auto land. We're looking for our land green, which will be a call-out now. Get a little floodlight action on here. Them boys gonna whip tonight, Deicing. I know, man. I'm excited. It's gonna be a good night. That photogrammetry did look clean, didn't it, AFO? Mine normally doesn't look that good, but I guess Seattle's just showing out. All right, here comes field elevation. Actually, we're a little bit above field still, so wait for the actual field elevation. I think it's like 2100, right? If I remember right. So now let's go ahead and, oh no, wrong button. Manage speed. Gear down. Speed brake armed. VFE next, -10. We'll do it for wing nut from back here, flaps 3. And we should be close enough to flaps full. VFE next, -10, flaps full, landing checklist. Isaac, I can tell that you are either a child with no maturity level or just a troll. So, see ya later. All right, 1,000 feet, stable, clear to land. Here we go, auto landing. Almost clicked it off. Let's see how the Fenix does. This is a good test. We're a 5-knot quartering headwind here. So this is well within limitations. Let's see how the Fenix does. It's been a while. Thrust is looking good, 56%. It's ballpark, a little bit high. I think it'd be right about 51, 52. Well, we're on the CFMs though, aren't we? Yeah. It's in the ballpark. We'll judge it when we get the actual engine models. Everything is looking good. There's our landing inhibit. I know you can't see it because the cam's in the way. Wow, this is quite beautiful. See some brown on the trees, not much though. Land green. That's our call out. Now we're looking for flare and roll out. This is very interesting. We're 4 wide on the Pappies here. Let's just see how it does.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Oh, wow.
5.
Oh my gosh, that was juice. That was really well done. Spoilers, reverse green, a decel. I thought it was going to be long. All right, manual brakes, we'll click them off here. 70 knots. All right, now don't forget when you do an auto land, disconnect the autopilot here with your side stick before you try to steer off the runway. That was really nicely done there from the Fenix. Do we have a brake issue? I think I have a brake issue. There we go. Wow. I don't think it was long, Hayne. I don't think it landed long. It was interesting that we got 4 whites there. What's our baro? Our baro was off by 3, 2985. I don't know if that'd be enough. Let's just go ahead and cross. Hopefully there's nobody landing here. I haven't heard a single radio call. Uh-oh, I think I've just lost my right brake on my rudder pedal. I don't know, I gotta fix my rudder pedals. Speaking of rudder pedals, I was trying to adjust the angle at which the pedal sits. I think I tweaked it. Clear in here. We'll stow it. Let's go ahead and clean it up. Yeah, the glide soap. Yeah, the barrel wouldn't matter, Chaos. You're right. Could be. I wonder if it's an airport thing too, scenery thing. It was definitely high over the numbers. It's like 100 feet, I thought, over the numbers. We'll leave the lights on for replay. Speaking of replay, let's go ahead and stop recording because it's cooking everything. Let's find ourselves a gate. A Sierra 10, that looks fancy. It looks like a heavy gate. Let's go over here. Let's take Bravo 15. Oh, the jetway is right in the way of that one. We can't go there. Let's go to this one. We'll take Bravo 14. Rad was 150 over the threshold, Flight Sim guy. Yeah, so it's definitely high over the threshold. But I think it's still touchdown in the touchdown zone. Touchdown is being reviewed in New York. Ooh, that was a perfect ERP. That was a perfect ERP right there. Look at that sucker. I like it. All right. Let's go back here. Let's go here. Disconnect from VATSIM. Who was that? Crazy Flyer. Thank you for the 3 months of support, my friend. Appreciate you. Let's go ahead and reconfigure. We're flaps 2 180, I believe, when we started the replay. Go ahead and send it to replay now. Oh, look at that. We'll take the parking brake off. Getting ready to go right over downtown. We'll let it load in here. That is juicy, folks. I gotta fix my Rex Accu seasons because that's annoying. That was like my favorite add-on, and then they update it, and now it's like I can't get it to work right. Second leg, Seattle to Dallas for the big game. Ooh. That's a long flight, man. You know, up until about an hour ago, I thought we were... So we had plans for tonight, but the babysitter is sick, so we're not going out. But had I had known that, I would have probably just done a longer stream, Seattle-Dallas for the big win. I tell you what, we might have to do like a Dallas-Seattle would be long with the headwinds. I really want to fly again. I'm just loving the sim right now, man. The little hiatus, taking a break from Microsoft. I'm re-energized now. I'm re-energized in this sim. I kind of want to take the F-28 out, but then I got to reconfigure my desk. Podcast during cruise. Thank you, James. It was the airplane, no? Seattle to Portland. Ooh, Seattle to Portland. It's always a good flight. 27 minutes. That's one of them RJ routes the Adopt-A-Bus flies, isn't it? That's the main line RJ route right there. Checks to see if Laura's in chat. I'm not saying we're gonna do a second leg or not, but I'm gonna see what I can whip up. I almost want to get back into fly-by-wire with full functionality of the FCU, or maybe I can look and see if I can get Moby flight working. That is just a stunning approach. Let's see up here. Yeah, we'll watch this one together, and then we'll replay the landing touchdowns, and then we'll call it good. Seattle to Boise? Well, I was thinking, what is Albuquerque doing? Because Albuquerque had some weather earlier. Could do like Albuquerque, Dallas. But we don't have a good DFW scenery. That's the problem. We don't have anything good in DFW. Could go Albuquerque, Phoenix. Or we go Albuquerque or Phoenix to Amarillo. Oh man, there's some thunderstorms up there. Dang. Yeah, DFW is not good in the sim, unfortunately. I'd even take circuits around Seattle with this lighting. Yeah, I should dust off that Fokker. There might be a poll coming soon to the chat. I'm going to make a phone call after the stream ends, and if you're a member, just look for a poll. Sorry we couldn't do the stream yesterday. I forgot that I promised my little girl we were going to make a birdhouse, so I had to run home and do the birdhouse thing. DFW isn't good in real life either? Come on. DFW is awesome, man. DFW is a fantastic airport. I love DFW. The controllers, though, when the weather goes down, they are not at their optimum performance, I would say. Chicago is probably one of the... Chicago always comes to mind as like, hey, when the weather goes south, Chicago speeds you up, I feel like. It's like, maintain 250. Like, okay. Whereas you get a few scatter clouds in DFW, they're like, slow to 180, holding at Seaver. You know, we have few at 25,000. Love Field. Love Field is a nice airport, too. Albuquerque is 42 with rain, slight chance of snow late tonight. Al W, take a note on the DFW detractors. I spent 3 hours on a taxiway there one time. Key 6? Ah, come on, man. Better than spending 3 hours on a taxiway in LA. I think our frames are getting a little bit wonky. I think when I do these long replays... Alright, let's see what happened here. So, rad altitude, we're definitely high, but we were bang on the slope when we landed. On speed, 100 feet over the numbers for sure. Let's go outside and see if we were legal. I mean, it flared and even had a little rudder correction. Boom, there's a touchdown. We'll pause it. That was great. One stripe to spare, but look at that. Perfectly, I mean, damn. That is 99.9% perfect. Other than being a little bit long. That was a great auto land. De-rotate it. Boom. You can see there about one tire width off. Watch the rudder kick in here on the rollout. Watch this. I guess I should arm those. Folkwa Gatekeeper has entered the chat. You know what's funny? Not funny, but long story super short. Basically, we had an event where we had to fill out an ASAP. The gatekeeper called the FO and not me. And I think the reason is because on the ASAP, I filled the character limit on the how can we fix this problem. Look at the rudder straightening out there. Dang. Not bad, auto land. There goes the thrust reversers. Not bad. Alright. We'll end it here for now. We'll see if, like I said, I'll make a call, see if we can get something going, maybe do another leg here in a little bit this afternoon, since I got nowhere to be until the Cowboys game starts. So I'm going to do some ribs tonight, so those don't take super long. But will I be able to cross the land event on Saturday? No, I got a turn on Saturday morning, so I'll be working. But thank you all for tuning in this morning. I hope you enjoyed this stream here. Hope you maybe picked up a little something with the de-icing discussions. I know it's kind of like a lot of it's a moot point for Flight Sim, but I feel some of you want to actually kind of know what's going on behind the scenes in real world scenarios. So hopefully you picked up something on there that you enjoyed. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hitting that like button. Thank you for the support of my membership donos. You guys have been insane. AJ Team Vodka and AJ Team Vodka and Cosmic with the massive membership donos. Thank you. Appreciate all of you. Until the next one, stay safe, stay warm, stay healthy. I'll run it through one more time. I'm V1. See you.